Germany is a beautiful nation that has existed in one form or another for centuries. And while much of its history is rich in culture and innovation, today we'll be talking about the top 10 dark discoveries in Germany that are sure to leave you speechless. And I promise you, it's not all what you would expect. I'll do my best to pronounce all the names right, but let me know in the comments how I can improve my German pronunciations. Number 10. 7,000-year-old execution grave. In 2013, near Halberstadt, archaeologists were excavating a Neolithic settlement site when they came across a grisly discovery. The team, led by Christian Meyer, found a burial pit filled with nearly complete skeletons of 9 people who lived approximately 7,000 years ago. Through testing of isotopes in their bones and teeth, which are different between people depending on diet and other factors, scientists deduced that these people were from a different location than the rest of the bodies that were buried in the area. The 9 skeletons were also in positions that would indicate that they were thrown into the pit somewhat haphazardly, as opposed to being buried ceremoniously like some of the others near the same site were. The most disturbing part is how this grave differs from other graves around the country. In all of these other sites, the dead have all perished in different ways, as made clear with the forensic analysis of the bones, from spears to blunt force to natural causes. However, in the Halberstadt site, all of the dead have the same fatal wound on the back of the head, implying that these people were executed in the same precise way, with a blow from a blunt weapon in the same spot. The archaeologists believe that this, combined with the fact that the dead found were mostly men, shows that these people were an attacking party who were clearly unsuccessful in their raid. Number 9. Sunken Ship. Before I tell you this next dark discovery, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so that we can keep bringing you amazing content. First found in 2020, this 400-year-old wooden ship was found at the bottom of the River Trave, insanely well preserved. Researchers say that since wood rots so quickly underwater in this region, they were surprised at how much of the ship remained intact. The ship is believed to be a single-masted cargo vessel between 20 and 25 meters long, and sunk standing almost completely upright. Around 150 wooden cargo barrels were found in the wreck that were filled with quicklime, an ingredient for mortar used in stonework made from burning limestone. Because of this specialized cargo, scientists believe that the ship was sailing from Scandinavia to regions of northern Germany that don't have any limestone. Marine researchers have been amazed at how well preserved the ship is, and they believe this is due to a layer of mud that happened to cover it when it finally rested on the bottom of the river. The mud kept the wood from rotting, but it also protected it from a type of saltwater clam known as the shipworm, which is very, very good at destroying submerged wood. Research and underwater excavations are still ongoing, and the team even believes that they may find remains of some of the long-lost crew that was aboard when the ship met its final resting place. Number 8. Found in the foliage. In 1980, 69-year-old Paul L. went for a walk in the forest near the town of Bruckberg. He did not tell anyone where he was going, but he left a farewell note for his family as he knew that this would be his last walk. His family searched for years, but he was never found. And in 2009, a teenage boy was walking through the same forest and noticed something strange, a bone lying on the ground. And after he brought it to the attention of the police, law enforcement did a thorough search of the area and discovered a skeleton 11 meters off the ground in a spruce tree. This chilling find is only amplified by the fact that both the body and a pistol were tied to the same tree. Police investigators believe that Paul L. climbed the tree, tied himself to it, and took his own life. And this is what made the body so difficult to find. I mean, who looks for a skeleton in a tree? Number 7. German Stonehenge. Most of us know about Stonehenge, a prehistoric monument in England consisting of circles made with massive stone slabs. No one's 100% sure who made it or what it was used for other than rituals, but it's not the only place of its kind in the world. In 1991, a plane was flying towards Berlin and someone noticed a strange structure below. When people went to investigate, they discovered this henge. It consists of concentric circles made out of massive wooden poles. The largest of the circles measures 115 meters or 380 feet, which actually makes it larger than England's Stonehenge. Archaeologists have since found multiple burial sites containing the remains of men and women of all ages who appear to have died in a sort of ritual sacrifice, some of which appear to be quite brutal. Weapons such as axes, along with drinking vessels and butchered animal bones were also found at the site. However, new excavations have found evidence of settlements as well, implying that not only was this place used for rituals and solstice celebrations, but also as a place for locals to live. Number 6. Stashed secrets. In August of 2021, a history teacher was cleaning and making repairs to his aunt's house in Hagen after there had been severe flooding damage. When he removed a piece of rotted board, he found a small, 1-foot wide hidden area, and inside he saw a newspaper dated in 1945. When he continued to look further, he discovered many German military artifacts from World War II, including a portrait of the mustached leader of Germany, brass knuckles, a revolver, military patches, and many letters and documents. It's believed that the house was once the local headquarters for the National Socialist People's Welfare Organization, or the NSV at the time, which was in charge of doling out the riches stolen from Jewish groups and individuals during the war. In other words, a safe house for bad guys. But the family says that they had no idea the history of the building when they purchased it in the 60s. Things were so haphazardly thrown and hidden in the wall that researchers believe that it must have been done in quite a hurry when the Allied troops closed in on the city. With no time to dispose of the important documents, they hid them in the walls, making for quite a discovery 76 years later. Number 5. Reused graves. In August of 2022, archaeologists were doing a preventative dig at the site of a newly planned rainwater retention basin in Tuttlingen, and came across a late Stone Age culture grave dating back to 3000 BC. While no human remains from that era have been found, the other items in the burial site imply that they were graves, mostly the pottery made from broken ceramic indicative of that time period, which would have been adorned with textures and pictures for the dead. However, there was another discovery made shortly after, in the same spot. More items were uncovered by archaeologists, including swords, jewelry, and drinking glasses, but this time they were from the Middle Ages, around 500 AD. That's right, a medieval gravesite on top of one from the Stone Ages, meaning that this same burial ground was used again 3,500 years after it was the first time. Excavation is still ongoing, so who knows what else they'll find. Number 4. The Unicorn Cave Carving. Deep in the Harz Mountains lies the Einhornhöhle, or the Unicorn Cave. It got its name from treasure hunters who thought that the remains they discovered there were those of the mythological animal, when most likely they were something else entirely, the bones of a prehistoric giant deer. In 2014, researchers discovered a 51,000-year-old art piece carved into the toe bone of a species of deer that existed during the Ice Age. Originally thought to be butchering marks, further experiments showed that the marks made were intentional, and that the bone had most likely been boiled first to make it softer and easier to carve. This shows how early on humans were creating what could be called art, with the detailing being deliberate and complex, and it's a tragedy that so much of this has been lost to time. The story goes back even further, because what researchers found near the same area in 1990 will shock you. Number 3. Hominin weaponry. Before the bone carving was found, archaeologists were already uncovering nearby sites, and in 1990 they discovered something truly remarkable. Perfectly preserved weapons, artifacts, and bones were uncovered that were approximately 300,000 years old, and that is absolutely insane to me. Ancient throwing sticks, push lances, and other tools were found, some of which scientists have yet to still divine the function of. Closer examination showed how the weapons had worn from use, and that told researchers what they were used for and how often. There were even marks in some of them that seemed to have been made from chipping bone. Now who knows if that was from an animal or another early human, it's almost impossible to tell. But the fact that these exist at all is amazing to me. Number 2. The Headless Horse, man. The legend of the Headless Horseman is well known around the world, and many cultures have their own version of the story of a headless rider on a dark horse come to do evil. But in Germany, they seem to have gotten it mixed around. In an ancient cemetery near Knittlingen, archaeologists revealed a perplexing discovery. In a 1,400-year-old grave there was a man buried, and next to him was a horse that was missing its head. Further searching in the surrounding area showed that many of the graves had jewelry like pearl necklaces and bracelets, as well as everyday goods like food stored in ceramic pots buried alongside the bodies. This led researchers to believe that they were not sacrifices or offerings, but a gift to be used in the afterlife. And the gifts you were given depended on your status. And since this man was buried alongside most of a horse, it would imply that the man who rested there was of great esteem, and perhaps even owned that horse, and can now ride with them in the afterlife. Either way, headless skeletons of any kind are creepy. We all know of the dark and terrible things that occurred in Germany during World War II, but our number 1 dark discovery came right at the end of the war. When Allied troops entered the town of Dachau, they thought that they were ready for anything. Whether that was German officers ready to fight, or booby traps laid by Axis forces, but nothing could compare them for what they saw when they entered the camp. But before they even entered the camp, soldiers were put off by a foul odor. They believed that they were upwind of some sort of chemical factory, but they soon discovered what was known as the death train. where bodies of thousands of innocent people were laid with no regard to their dignity. These people had their lives taken for absolutely no reason, and when they were discovered, soldiers forced members of the German army and other sympathizers to help give them a proper burial. With the arrival of the Allied troops in Dachau and the liberation of the camp and its survivors, the war was all but won, and the evil German leader took his own life the next day. The dark history of the camp can still be felt by visitors to this day, and helps people learn of the worst of humanity, and the best of humanity, who fought to keep the evils at bay. Thanks for watching. See you next time.